अपना सेशन शुरू कर रहे हैं बाइट्स का। अनलाइक पैनल्स, हमारी बाइट्स जो हैं उनमें 3 स्पीकर्स होते हैं और ईच स्पीकर इज गोइंग टू स्पीक फॉर अबाउट 15 minutes, kind of like TED Talk style. So this bite, we have Atia Noon, who will be talking about climate change, afforestation, smog, and the role of women. She is going to be followed by Dr. Jawad bin Yamin, who will be talking about prioritizing ocular health. And then we will have Sabahat Bukhari, a diversity and inclusion expert, who will be talking about how AI can create new realities of inclusivity for women. So our first guest that I'm going to invite up here, she is at the city school as a regional director for the central region. She is an award-winning public speaker and has represented Pakistan internationally on various forums. Atia Noon. She has worked in education in London for a few years before moving back to Pakistan. She's actively involved in air quality related environment activism and is a member of the Punjab Wildlife Board, the Punjab Environmental Council, and the Punjab Government Smog Committee, and also serves as Secretary of Afforestation, Lahore. Please welcome Atia Noon.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. With a show of hands, how many of you were or grew up in the 80s or the 90s? And how many of you remember using glass bottles for fizzy drinks instead of plastic bottles, where the glass bottles had to be returned in order for them to be reused? How many of you remember those plastic shopping bags that went along every time you had to buy groceries instead of using plastic bags? And how many of you wore your siblings or cousins' hand-me-downs? So this was us. This was the usual life of people in the subcontinent, where recycling, or what we now call upcycling or pre-loved wear, etc., it was intrinsic to us. We all remember the sounds of the raddiwala going in our lane and taking away all our plastic and paper trash for recycling. If some of you grew up in villages, perhaps you remember that there was always a communal compost heap where everyone in the village would dump their garbage, which could later be used in the fields as fertilizer. So somewhere along the line, we lost this. We lost this wisdom that existed in our, what I'm going to call, communal community lives. And Western values colonized us once again 50 years later, somewhere perhaps in the late 90s, and we became more individualist in our approach. And we moved on to plastic bottles, and the village compost heaps could no longer work because all of a sudden there was too much plastic waste even in villages, which meant that nothing could be composted. It wasn't cool anymore to wear your siblings and cousins' hand-me-downs. And, every season you needed new clothes. Every few years your furniture had to be upgraded. And whenever you could afford it, you would upgrade your car model. By the way, fun fact, Lahore has the highest number of since I come from the education industry, this is a pet peeve of mine. Lahore has the highest number of per car per child drop off in the world. That is insane. A lot of people believe that our smog crisis can be reduced dramatically just by moving students to school buses, but that's a topic for another day. So what I'm saying is that we talk about environmental activism, we talk about how to tackle climate change, we talk about all these things, but we forget that actually the Global South is a very minimal contributor to the overall environmental degradation in the world. And in fact, in South Asia just till about 3 decades ago, like I said, we were a very naturally environmentally friendly society. And no other city is as emblematic or symbolic of this degradation as Lahore, where in 10 years, from 2005 to 2015, Lahore lost 75% of its tree cover to development, encroachments, housing societies, commercial plazas, and what have you. But even as people, we suddenly started preferring bonsais and imported exotic plants and pruned ficuses in our gardens, as opposed to old shady trees and our local trees and shrubs that support Lahore's ecosystems. So it was a mindset change. It wasn't something external to us. Something changed within us. But let me ask you a question. In your opinion, if you're from Lahore, what is the most beautiful road in Lahore? Which road comes to your mind? Mall Road. Thank you. That's the most obvious answer everyone will give you without thinking. And guess what? The Mall Road does not have all those exotic imported plants that you see in some of the newer roads in Lahore. It does not have pruned ficuses. What does it have? It just has the native species that were planted by the British before they left, that have now become old shady trees and that make the Mall Road the most beautiful road in Lahore. So why we fail to appreciate and value what makes us beautiful is at the core of our environmental crisis, I feel. And back in 2019, a group of us got together and started this public-private partnership by the name of Afforestation Lahore, where we tried to bring about this cultural mindset change while working with the government and encouraging people to plant local native species that will support Lahore's biodiversity and ecosystems, that will attract the bees, butterflies, small animals, small birds that are essential for our survival. And I'm proud to say that by the grace of God, we were able to plant about 10 million trees between 2019 and 2021, I want to say. Part of this effort was also the Miyawaki forest method, which became very, very popular in India, where basically it's a method that's promoted for urban spaces where there's land stress. So you don't have a lot of land, but you still want dense greenery. So you plant a Miyawaki forest that grows 10 times faster than a normal forest. And the beauty of the Miyawaki forest is that it only works if you plant the trees native to wherever you're planting that forest. So we piloted our first project in Liberty Market, Lahore. If you get a chance, go and walk through that forest and you'll experience the bird sound. You'll experience the coolness, especially in the summer and of course it serves as a carbon sink. So we piloted it after a lot of sort of being at loggerheads with the government for a long time. And now I think the trees there go up to 20, 25 feet, some of the trees. And when the government saw the success of Liberty Forest, it took off and they planted 50 more such forests in Lahore. So basically the idea was behind Afforestation Lahore was to make the government and civil society both responsible for what is a collective responsibility and for values that exist inside us intrinsically, as I said earlier. Because unless we change ourselves, our environment's not going to change. When we grew up, we would we were told that water is a very precious resource. So take shorter showers or use buckets, because we shouldn't waste water. We grew up with this sort of stress if the shower became too long. But now no one talks to their children about these things. No one talks to their children about things that were very, very normal conversations in homes. Save water, plant a tree. None of this happens anymore, or it happens in the same way that the West is doing it, where it's some kind of a big monolith of global warming that we're tackling. We as a society are still not as disconnected from our roots and nature as Western countries are. So for us to get back to this, to what is natural to us is very easy. And one of the projects that I want to cite in support of this is a project called Rally for Rivers in India, where Sadhguru, who's obviously a very renowned, well-respected figure in India, said that the river is actually not just an isolated environmental or geographical, element. It is a life-supporting, natural gift. And about 1,000 years ago, people were already talking about supporting the river, preserving the river, and thereby supporting life. So he said that this is not something new. It's not something new that we have to teach ourselves to preserve the environment. This is something that was very normal even 1,000 years ago. And over the years, we lost this ancient wisdom. So he lobbied at a very high level for this project called Rally for Rivers, which, was not just to clean up the river, but also to protect the banks of the river by doing a lot of plantation for 1 kilometer along the banks of the river. And the project took root. They started with one river, and now I believe all the rivers in India are being given the same sort of attention and focus. And the beauty is that it's not that it's not, like I said, it's not something that's coming from what the West says should be our answer to climate change. It's coming from our own ancient wisdom. So I'll end on that note to just reflect how we have lost something, but it's not so far gone that we can't reattain it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Athiya. Our next speaker is Dr. Jawad bin Yamin. He is a renowned eye specialist and surgeon. He specializes in cataract surgery, removal of glasses, vitreoretinal surgery, I hope I'm getting all of this right, glaucoma surgery, laser procedures for diabetic eye diseases, and squint surgery. He currently works as a consultant ophthalmologist with the charitable LRBT Foundation and as head of ophthalmology department at Hijaz Hospital. He is a visiting eye surgeon at Hamid Latif Hospital and also runs a private practice. Please welcome Dr. Jawad bin Yamin.
Hello, can you hear me now? All right. So eyes are the windows to the world and to our souls. For souls to be healthy, we need to prioritize our ocular health. So how many of you are aware of certain diseases in women, especially the women in the audience? What is the most prevalent disease in women population? Diabetes can affect your ocular health, but in this day and age, I think dry eyes is the most commonly presenting disease in the younger population, especially even in children, because of the extensive use of gadgets, extensive use of screens, video games. So as the title says, Chashme Zan se hai tasveere kainat mein rang. So there'll be no rang in tasveere kainat if Chashme Zan is not healthy. So a very surprising fact, 2 out of 3 blind people are women. And women are prone to more ocular diseases than men. Anybody knows why? I will tell you, but if somebody knows the reason, I would like them to raise their hands and if they could tell us. Sorry?
Try a lot.
They cry a lot.
They cry a lot, yeah. It could be one of the reasons because they're very strong emotional beings.
They neglect their health.
They neglect their health, lack of awareness, yes, absolutely. But a very funny thing that women live longer than men. So they are actually prone to more diseases than men, then hormonal imbalance, pre and post menopausal. So these are the risk factors that women are more prone towards certain ocular diseases, and they should prioritize their ocular health. So we'll talk about different diseases, those which are more prevalent in women population. 1, dry eyes, as I've just mentioned, then cataract. Actually, estrogen is a very, very important hormone that protects women from getting the disease in early stage of their life. For example, cardiac diseases, you must have heard that after menopause, women are equally exposed to a vascular insult. So estrogen also protects the ocular health. The wear and tear that is going on inside the eyeball, it's a protective hormone. So after menopause, women are prone to develop cataracts, glaucoma, age-related macular degeneration, where we lose our central vision. And it is more prevalent in female population than in men. And then dry eyes, as I've already told you, dry eyes, which is very prevalent in younger population because of extensive use of gadgets, and especially in women, those who wear near glasses for like very minute, detailed work. And last but not the least, diabetic eye disease. So we'll talk about dry eyes first. So dry eyes, the main symptoms are itching, irritation, watering, redness, and exhausted eyes. Thaki hui aankhein, thakawat. I'm sure everyone sitting here, they all have few symptoms of dry eyes. The treatment, first we'll go for a prophylactic treatment. Lifestyle modification. Limit your screen time. Not more than 40 minutes at a stretch on any gadget. Then take a break, voluntary blinking, take a lot of water. If your symptoms improve, well and good. If they do not, we have tear substitutes. But I would still recommend that there should be improvement in lifestyle than using a drug, because drug comes with a lot of side effects. The second is cataract. Again, estrogen is the protective hormone, and mostly cataract changes develop after menopause. Treatment again includes spectacle correction initially, where people are reluctant to undergo knife, but later the definite treatment is surgical treatment, where we implant lenses inside the eyeball, and women are very fond of implanting multifocal IOL so they can get rid of their glasses. Then comes glaucoma. Glaucoma is, so cataract hamari population mein is very popular as safed motia. And what is cataract? Cataract is opacification of the lens. Aankh ka apna lens dhundla jata hai. And what is glaucoma? You're listening very carefully, you should know what glaucoma is. Glaucoma is kala motia, where the pressure of the eyeball raises. So it is a blinding condition, where cataract is not a blinding condition. Glaucoma is a blinding condition. You can lose your vision. Initially, there is a tunnel vision. You can see very clearly but then later your peripheral vision starts to decrease, and much later the sight is gone. So it has to be screened. So always go to an ophthalmologist, then to an optometrist for your refractive error correction, because they do not have that knowledge or command over the subject. They can give you spectacle correction, but they're never going to measure your intraocular pressure, which is very, very important. And it is a blinding condition. And most of the people, they go blind just for one reason, that they do not get prompt treatment at the right time. Now, the next comes, glaucoma has, again, a lot of treatment options. I'm sure everybody knows here. Everyone is a doctor here since Dr. Google is here. So, medical treatment and then surgical treatment. I'm not going into detail of these treatments. I'm just going to tell you about how to prevent it. So, screening is very, very important. Screening for both cataract and for glaucoma. Then comes age-related macular degeneration. I think women after 50, and if there is an early menopause, always go and get screened after 45, dilated fundus examination. This is a test that you have to undergo where we put drops in your eyes and we see inside the eyeball. Again, it's a very slowly progressive disease. Later in life, there'll be loss of central vision. How we can prevent age-related macular degeneration in women? One, take a lot of vegetables, especially green leafy vegetables, because they have a very strong antioxidant role in the body, especially in the eye. Next, protect your eyes from sunlight, because it has ultraviolet radiations, and ultraviolet radiations are very, very toxic to your eyeball. So whenever you're in the sun, always wear UV protected goggles. Next comes चार मगज. चार मगज पुराने वक्तों में कहते थे कि चार मगज खाओगे तो there is also a myth कि सांप जब तक सौंफ नहीं सूंघ लेता उसकी नजर नहीं खुलती. There's this membrane on snake's eye, and once he sniffs on saunf, so the membrane goes away and he can see perfectly. So saunf, badam, akhrot, these are the very strong, they have very strong antioxidant mechanism of protection. So I would recommend always take, this should always come in your bag, saunf, badam and akhrot, as Naniya Dadiya would always recommend to have saunf, badam and akhrot. Last but not the least is diabetic eye disease. So diabetes, again, no symptoms, a silent killer, nobody knows, again, requires screening, basic screening like fasting, sugar levels, blood glucose, random blood glucose levels. The symptoms of diabetes include polyuria, polydipsia, and polyphagia. So what is polyuria? Extensive urge to go to the toilet. What is polydipsia? Extensive thirst. And what is polyphagia? Hunger to have something sweet. So these are the commonly occurring symptoms. One should always look out for these symptoms. Later, so in early stages of diabetes, so type 1 diabetes, which is very prevalent in younger population, they develop blindness earlier than people who have type 2 diabetes. So younger people with diabetes should always undergo a dilated fundus examination. And later in life, if you develop diabetes, it is less toxic, but then again, if not treated at the right time, can cause blindness. A very common thing is the uncorrected refractive error. After 40, everyone needs glasses for near vision. Always get corrected for your near vision. So these are the few things I wanted to talk about. If you have any query, you can ask me.
Thank you so much for such an session. I was actually listening to you very attentively.
I know you were the only one who was listening.
No, that's not the case. Actually, my question is that I've heard that degeneration of retina is becoming very popular, either because of diabetes or it could be because of hypertension as well. My question is that could that disease be inherited as well? Just because your ancestors have family history of that, is it possible that you're likely to get that disease too?
Yes, it has a very strong genetic predisposition. So people who have age-related macular degeneration in their family, especially both in their maternal and paternal side, should undergo a screening test. And how we can prevent it, I've already told you, always protect yourself from sunlight, have lots of green leafy vegetables, plus screening. There's one thing I'd like to say, that smoking, diabetes, hypertension, and alcohol consumption can actually aggravate the age-related macular degeneration disease process. So these are not very healthy things to practice. So if you have it, then try to taper it off as early as possible.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर आपने इंट्राओकुलर प्रेशर की बात की है सर, उसमें सर आप कैसे उसको डायग्नोस कर सकते हैं और उसके अलावा बीटा ब्लॉकर क्या यूज़ कर सकते हैं हम?
सॉरी, क्या यूज़ कर सकते हैं?
बीटा ब्लॉकर्स।
बीटा ब्लॉकर खुद से तो यूज़ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन डॉक्टर प्रिस्क्रिप्शन पे आप ज़रूर यूज़ कर सकते हैं। इंट्राओकुलर प्रेशर जो है पेशेंट को कभी पता नहीं चलता अनलेस कि वो इस लेवल पे पहुंच जाए कि इट बिकम्स पेनफुल। नॉर्मल आई प्रेशर 21 से कम होना चाहिए, 6 से ज्यादा 6 millimeter of mercury and less than 21 millimeter of mercury. If it is above it, then we label you as a glaucoma patient. Beta blocker is not the only treatment. Beta blocker, you have to be very careful, especially while prescribing beta blockers. You cannot give beta blockers to cardiac patients. You cannot give beta blockers to asthmatic patients. There are certain beta blockers that you can give to cardiac and asthmatic patients, and there are a number of other treatment modalities available. But getting your intraocular pressure checked with an ophthalmologist is a must.
अच्छा जी, आपने कहा कि करीब की जो नज़र है वो जल्दी ख़राब हो जाती है या चेक कराते रहने चाहिए। तो आई वॉन्ट टू टेल यू कि आई एम अ सीनियर सिटीज़न, मेरी करीब की नज़र बिल्कुल ठीक है, इतनी ठीक है कि मैं सुई में धागा भी डाल लेती हूँ बग़ैर किसी ऐनक के, और 10 फॉन्ट जो है ना अखबार का बग़ैर ऐनक के पढ़ लेती हूँ। तो व्हेन आई एम रीडिंग समथिंग या कोई अखबार वगैरह मेरे पास हो या कोई मुझे कहे कि जी आप ये पढ़ें, तो पूछते हैं मुझे कि जो आप बग़ैर ऐनक के पढ़ रहे हैं। दूर की नज़र जो है मेरी वो आई ड्राइव स्टिल, एंड उसके लिए इफ़ आई ड्राइव इन द नाइट तो मैंने एक ऐनक रखी हुई है जो मेरा ख्याल है कि वो मैं पहनती हूँ ओनली व्हेन आई एम ड्राइविंग एंड इफ़ आई एम ड्राइविंग। तो इसका मेरे ख्याल में द रीज़न आप भी बताएं, और मैं ये बता सकती हूँ कि आई हैव नो बैड हैबिट्स। थैंक यू।
You told the reason yourself. मुझे सिर्फ एक क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछना है कि आपकी कोई ऑक्यूलर सर्जरी तो नहीं हुई?
आई एम अ फेयरली हेल्दी पर्सन। एक दफ़ा मेरा ये जो ये नाक बंद हो जाता है, वो जो पॉलिप्स टाइप चीज़ होती है, दैट आई हैड, तो उसके लिए आई अंडरवेंट सर्जरी विच वाज वो आजकल बगैर काट छांट के जो करते कंप्यूटर के थ्रू, सो दैट वाज डन इन द कदीर हॉस्पिटल इन इस्लामाबाद विच वेरी वेल।
अच्छा, I'm very happy that you have a very great vision, but vision के different components होते हैं. For example, vision को जब हम quantify करते हैं, so जिसको आप अक्सर सुनते हैं 6x6 या 20x20 vision. So we actually quantify and measure vision, both for far and for near. Then comes color, brightness, contrast, sensitivity. बहुत सारे elements होते हैं कि जो with time impair हो रहे होते हैं, but we are unaware of it. I'm pretty sure आपकी नज़र बिल्कुल ठीक होगी. It also depends on your visual requirement, कि आपकी visual requirement एक font size की कितनी है. For example, अगर आप अखबार पढ़ती हैं तो probably the font size is N12, N10. So वो आप पढ़ सकते हैं. But what if I give you a font size of N6? Will you be able to read it then? So हाँ, उसके लिए
छोटी जो चीजें लिखी होती है ना, like on a prescription, because I never want to take a medicine unless I read कि इसमें क्या लिखा होता है, तो वो काफी छोटा छोटा
हाँ,
होता है.
उसके लिए लगानी पड़ती है. Yes, but आपने तो पूरा लेक्चर ही
नहीं, मैं नहीं उसके लिए लगाती
आप
हूँ.
उसके लिए भी नहीं
मैं
लगाती?
अच्छी लाइट में पढ़ लेती हूँ उसको
So,
भी. शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
Alhamdulillah. So that's the takeaway message, that always take care of your health and have very good habits. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yameen. And okay, so before I call our next speaker, I want to take out the time and I want you guys to join me in thanking the very special team of Connect here. Our PSL team has really played a big role in this entire festival. Our hearing impaired team, the sign language with Pakistan Sign Language, Connect here, round of applause for them. It's really a lot of hard work. And they have to often switch between each other and speak to each other before they switch. And we don't realize that they're telling each other what to do next. And it's been amazing watching them do that. Okay. Our next speaker is a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert and founder of the Inclusion Hub. She has a decades-long experience in people and management. Her last engagement being at Jazz, where her policies helped Jazz to win the IFC Employer of Choice Gender Diversity Awards. Please welcome to the stage Sabahat Bukhari.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I didn't want any barrier in between because I am against all systemic barriers. So no barriers. So I would like, thank you so much. Actually, you have given me quite a good starting point before I started speaking. So as we were talking about prioritizing the ocular health, I just did a quick Google search. Dr. Google tells me very good things. But one very important, very quick search came out that when we are devising the devices for medical health emergencies, there had been times, and even now, when it was never tested on women. One example is during the hernia surgery, most of the hernia bandage mesh is only tested on men till date. 2019, they identified, because of hue and cry made by women, that this is a requirement because it is creating problems in 87% of the surgical cases. Now imagine, and I would say a lot of women will relate to it, when we go to doctor and we tell about, बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, oh, कोई बात नहीं है, बच्चे पैदा करती है, इससे ज़्यादा दर्द क्या होगा? You're almost told every single time to hold on to your pain because you have taken more than that, no? It's your job as a woman to take more than that. Now imagine a world which is virtual and where the virtual reality is mixing up with the physical reality, the metaverse. You must have seen your kids or yourself playing Minecraft, Roblox. It's just a gamification of the metaverse, but there is, of course, much more serious work going on in the metaverse as well. Imagine where the physical and the virtual reality are mixing. And imagine that world is not inclusive. Why wouldn't it be inclusive? For example, my daughter was playing Minecraft and she wrote to Minecraft that there is no icon available for wheelchair when I'm designing a wheelchair. My daughter is not physically challenged, but she identified that there is not even a single icon or tool available for me to design a wheelchair. My all characters are physically abled. Today's kids are realizing that our world is not inclusive. But is our virtual world inclusive or not? That's a huge question, because whatever is happening in the physical world is also happening in the virtual world. AI, for example, is contributing to $15.7 trillion in today's economy. But there is only 12% representation of women in AI. And when you go to avatars, how many of you have made avatars? Yeah? Facebook, Instagram avatars. Have you actually found your own actual skin color? Your own hair color? Your hair crunchiness? I got my hair straightened, but those who know me, they know that I used to have very curly hair. I never found my curly hair in the avatars. So think about an inclusive world. If the physical world is not inclusive, the virtual world will not be inclusive as well. Now, how can we make the AI an inclusive space? Because of the artificial intelligence, the world is coming together. Many people are not going to offices. They are working in the virtual environment. And if they are required to participate in a virtual world, and that is not accepting who they are, they need to fit in to get the work that they are doing. That means we have created a virtual world which is exactly like our physical world, non-inclusive. So what is an inclusive world for us? Is it only about women? Is it only about persons with disabilities? Or about the skin color? Or it's about something else? What do you think? If I ask, imagine an inclusive physical world. What would be an inclusive physical world for you? Diverse in what way?
Culture. Thank you. Culture, race, religion, every dynamic of the social society.
Every dynamic of the social society is represented in the... So representation is one thing. When I am in a physical world and when I am in a virtual world, I should be represented. I as an individual. And when I say that, it means the whole of me. My thoughts, my background, my gender, my age. I am 43, 2 days back. Oh. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. But what realization hit me, that now is the time, after 40 is the time when ageism will start for me. I am not too old and I am not too young. I can't enjoy the things that the younger self of me used to enjoy because no, I'm cross 40. And I'm cross 40, but I can't enjoy certain things that the older people enjoy because, oh, you're too young to be with us. So this ageism is, for example, children of today are digital native. Us are digital users. A generation before us are digital, probably not even aware. But that thinking is also not inclusive because maybe someone who is much older than me is much more inclusive in terms of technology than I am. So an inclusive world for the physical and both virtual requirement needs one thing, and that is representation. Another thing, this bias that I am carrying today, that if I am not represented the way I am, it is maybe because the algorithm haven't seen me there. So what is happening when we are talking about algorithm not seeing me there? Another statistics, in Pakistan, there are only 0.05% represented in women in STEM. Do you know the reason why? All right, let me ask. All the men sitting here, all the boys sitting here, tell me, what was your first toy? First toy, whichever you remember. Oh, sorry? A red foxy.
A car.
A car. Anyone else? Sorry? Laptop. Yes, wow. I'm impressed. Anyone else? Watch. Anyone else? No, I'm asking boys. Your turn will come.
Plastic gun. Plastic gun.
Plastic gun. Toolbox. That's choti si hathodi, colorful si. Yeah. Even the balloons that you used to play with had the hathodi wali shape, the hammer shape, right? Girls, what was your first toy? Sorry?
Building blocks.
Building blocks. Anyone else?
Barbies.
Barbie. A doctor set. Anyone else? Did anyone of you get a hammer for playing? No? I am yet to find a pink color tool set for my daughters.
I had.
You had?
No, no.
Oh, sorry,
I
can't say.
had
I
a
had
tool
it.
set and a jeep.
A tool set and a jeep. Very nice. So how many women are here? One person at least we have. This is the representation issue. If we want more women in AI, we need to change the way we are seeing the toys. I am yet to, my daughter is 6-year-old now. From last 6 years, I am looking for a pink color hammer. Can't find it. Because she likes pink. That's the only reason. And she wants to wear not a unicorn frock, a Spider-Man frock. I can't find Spider-Man frock because Spider-Man doesn't wear frock. That's the representation issue. Because women today, girls, are looking for more options by keeping their femininity with them. The problem in our generation was that when we were coming in the workforce, we were told to shed off our femininity. We were told to shed off our femininity, and we were expected to adopt the way workforces were, the way work culture was. In today's girls, today's generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha is asking for, I want to keep who I am, what I like, and I want options. So an inclusive world, virtually, physically, is the one where the option is how I want it, not where I fit in. The mold made by the society. That's an inclusive world. Similarly, how many times we have seen inclusive toys? And when we say about the inclusive toys, we're talking about all sort of inclusion. So for example, kitchen for men. For the boys, how many kitchen tool sets are designed for boys? It's a life skill, can be given from the early age. Even when they're playing, कोई boy अगर खेल रहा हो kitchen से, ये क्या लड़कियों वाला game खेल रहा है? It's a very common rhetoric that is said. और उसको पता सोचा है नहीं ये नहीं खिलाना कोई problem हो जाएगी. You know, the kind of... So for us to move to a virtual space, the first thing we need to change is the way we see the physical world. And since our generation, we, the gender generation, which is digital aware, not the native, need to learn. Iqbal said, "Jawano ko peeron ka ustad kar." बहुत पहले कह के गए थे, but we did not realize back then. Now we need to learn from the younger generation how they want the world to be inclusive. And that inclusion is not only about gender, it's about age. My daughter wanted to create an avatar for me in Minecraft, and she said, what should I make in the Minecraft avatar for you? She wants to play Roblox with all the people around the world. And she doesn't see the world the way I see. So I need to ask from her, I need to learn Discord from her, I needed to learn the Roblox from her, so that I can at least talk to her in the way she wants me to talk to her. And the second thing is, we need to change the way we treat our kids. We need to stop ageism from them, from our side. They need to be included in the conversation now. Instead of saying, "Tum bache ho, abhi nahi, bachon se abhi baat nahi karna." Bacha is very important right now to create an inclusive world. And the third thing, we can create for ourselves, for the virtual, learn it now as a digital users, not even at least as a digital. Because what is happening, that world is moving very fast. You talk about the health tech, you talk about the ed tech, you talk about, 3 days back, in the last week, 26, I was in Mobile World Congress. And we have heard the name of Android, Xiaomi, and all these, and I saw that world where the Android car was there. Robotic pets were there. And there's so many health tech devices there. The Know Your Skin pavilion was there, where you were showing your skin to an AI-generated body, and they were telling how healthy your skin is. Then there was an app for the AI for understanding who you are and what kind of technology you would like to use. The world is moving there. For us to change our view, we need to change the algorithm. And for that algorithm, we need to change the algorithm here. If that algorithm is changed, we have created an inclusive AI world. Thank you so very much. And if you want to ask any question, please feel free, sir. Yeah, sure. You can take mine.
Get a Spider-Man costume for the boys and just create something like a frog out of it. So what can we do as a society, we millennials and the ones before us, what can we do to create those options? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very relevant and very good question. So what can we do? I think what we can do is that first thing first, we need to understand that and accept that these are not the nakhras. We millennials actually reject a lot of Gen Z and Gen Alpha's recommendation as ये नखरे वाले लोग हैं, हम तो बड़े अच्छे थे. ये एक तो थोड़ा सा यहाँ से खत्म करना पड़ेगा. दूसरी चीज, if they are asking for these opportunities, go with them to create that opportunity, because they are in the space where they need our help. We are in the age of 30s and 40s, and they are in the teens, they need our help. For example, if my daughter is asking for that frog, I can explain to her, Spider-Man, you can be Spider-Girl, and let's create the costume for you. We created that costume, by the way. It was horrible, but she enjoyed it, right? And then she realized, I don't want to be Spider-Girl, I want to be a warrior princess. And then she just tore off all the spider thing from that frog and took her sword out and started fighting as a warrior princess. So give the opportunities as they like. And be part of that opportunities, because we are not yet irrelevant. They are looking up to us. We need to understand that Gen Alpha and Gen Z are looking up to us, because we are the generation who have seen the change happen from physical to digital. And that change is a valuable experience. They're asking for more. So instead of us being the sideliners, being only, observing and criticizing, just be part of their journey.
So the only question I have, how are you managing this transition from being a young person to getting older? And I'm sure there are more opportunities, as you say, there are things that I cannot do.
By not accepting.
By
not accepting.
I know, I'm sure.
40 is new teen.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
Said now you're a married person, so like I'm sure that you can travel more. And now I have more opportunities. I have the resources to travel as well. So I think this is one of the things that you can do. But so not accepting exactly, because the first time I was called an uncle by a young child, it just hit me like a brick. कि भाई ये क्या हो गया
If
मेरे
someone
साथ?
call me auntie, I still don't recognize that. But let me tell you, the most important thing that we women can do, stop using the anti-aging. We don't need that. Okay? Anti-aging tells you that you are getting aged. So don't use that.
And-
Number one. Men, 40 is just a start. पाकिस्तान की सारी दीवारों पे लिखा हुआ है आप लोगों के लिए.
And it-
मैम आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन.
Sure.
मैम आपने इंक्लूसिवनेस की बात की है, तो
जी sure please.
इंक्लूसिवनेस की बात की है. नोआ हरारी का काम भी इस पे है कि सैपियंस जो है वो होमोड्यूस में कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगे. तो ये तो एक इनएविटेबल चीज़ है कि इक्वालिटी आ जाएगी 30 साल बाद 40 साल बाद. लेकिन मैम आपने इसको जो AI के मैम डेट्रीमेंटल इफेक्ट्स हैं जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन में पे, उससे हम कैसे बच सकते हैं? आप थोड़ा सा इस पे बता देना.
हाँ देखिए, जब मैं व्हेन आई वाज इन यूनिवर्सिटी 2000 में, इतनी मैं पुरानी हो गई, अब 24 साल पहले यूनिवर्सिटी थी. अभी भी कोई 10 साल कहता है तो मैं सोचती अच्छा हाँ 1900 की बात हो रही है, बट इट्स स्टिल 2000 राइट. 2000 में आप सब जो भी मेरी एज के लोग हैं उनको याद होगा 2000 आएगा, हिट होगा तो पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा और कंप्यूटर दुनिया रीसेट हो जाएगी. So there are always naysayers of the technology, every single technology. I met my Pardada a long time back in India, and he was blind. He didn't see the fan, the electrical fan. And he said कि दुनिया में अगर पंखा इजाद हो जाएगा तो पता नहीं क्या तबाही आ जाएगी. So there are detrimental effects of every single technology. The world is using them. World is moving on to use them. It's up to us how we use them. So, for example, Roblox and Minecraft are good games. If we know and become part of our generation and understand their language, we will be cancelling out the Roblox negative effect with them because we will be part of their group. We will be part of their world. But if we block that part, then negativity is all around us. Physical world में रहने की भी उतना ही नुकसान है. ठीक है?
Hello.
Thank you so very much.
हेलो, इधर
Sorry.
मैम
मुझे नजर नहीं आ रहे आप.
अपस्टेयर.
Upstairs. जी बोले. I'll take this last question.
मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि जो वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड है वो लोगों में बहुत ज़्यादा आइसोलेशन क्रिएट कर रही है, क्योंकि इट्स वेरी चार्मफुल टू इंगेज एंड इंटरेक्ट विद द पीपल इन द फिजिकल वर्ल्ड. तो लोग बहुत ज़्यादा आइसोलेटेड हो रहे हैं वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में रहने की वजह से. तो आई मीन के इसके जो बैड इफेक्ट्स हैं उसका भी जरा प्लीज बताइए, जो साइकोलॉजिकल बैड इफेक्ट्स हैं उसके.
है बैड इफेक्ट्स भी हैं. एक शेर है असले इतने घटे हैं आज की दुनियाओं के, अपने दो लोगों से हर एक शख्स कटा रहता है. तो है ये बात, बट एट द सेम टाइम देयर इज अ वर्ल्ड वेयर वी वर नेवर कनेक्टेड अनलेस. When we used to travel, only then we were connecting with the international communities, with the people around us. But now the world is so small because of artificial intelligence. Connect globally. And that global learning should maintain our relationship. However, things like this actually connect the physical world as well. So, depend on a lot of
एक सेकंड